The second half of the 2015 Speedway Grand Prix season starts this weekend with the Danish SGP from the CASA arena in Horsens. The event is the 187th Speedway Grand Prix overall and the 26th to come from Denmark, with this being the inaugural SGP in Horsens. Start time is 7 PM local, that's 6 PM in the UK. The wildcard for the meeting will be 20-year-old Mikkel Mikkelsen, who is making his Speedway Grand Prix debut and is currently joint leading the World Under-21 Championship with Bartosz Marslik. Peter Kilderman continues to fill in for the injured Jaroslav Hampel. Obviously, there was no event here last year, but the 2014 Danish SGP was held in Copenhagen, with Niels Christian Iversen winning on 16 points and 4 heat wins, ahead of Troy Batchelor, who up until the final was on a maximum and came away with 20 points. Greg Hancock was third, and Peter Kilderman completed the final, finishing fourth. With no track history to speak of, let's take a look at the SGP history of Denmark, which has Tony Ricardson and Jason Crump leading the way with 4 wins each, ahead of Andreas Jonsson and Thomas Skolob, who have 3. Greg Hancock and Hans Nielsen both have a couple of victories, while 7 riders have finished top in Denmark once, including current GP riders Michael Jepsen Jensen and Niels Christian Iversen. Crump also leads for Danish podiums with an impressive 11, ahead of Hancock with 10 and Ricardson on 8. Golob has been in the top 3 6 times, and Jonsson has 4 podiums here. For a look at the full history of winners and podiums in all SGPs, follow the link in the description. Nicky Pedersen's win last time out in Melilla means that he finished the first half of the year as the only rider to have more than 1 GP win. That and his win in Finland were his first Nordic career wins, so if the run continues he could win his first home GP this weekend. The Swedish GP didn't change the top 3 in the standings, with Toy Woffinden still leading ahead of Pedersen and Hancock. Woffenden's 17 points meant that despite Pedersen's win, the difference between the two in the standings remained 9, while both riders have now opened up a substantial gap ahead of Hancock. All 3 riders have the impressive record of qualifying for every semi-final this year, with Woffenden going 1 step further and making all 4 finals so far. Matti Zagar's 13 in Melilla jumped him a couple of places into 4th and just 5 behind last year's world champion, with Iversen and Chris Holder both dropping a place. Jason Doyle scored 11 last time out, and this was enough for him to swap places with Maciej Janowski in 7th. Michael Jepsen Jensen and Andreas Jonsson are still occupying 9th and 10th, with Jensen 5 points off the automatic qualification spots. Chris Harris has moved up into 11th, but he and those below are really going to need to kick on soon to have any chance of the top 8. Christoph Kasprzak's nightmare year continues. A second consecutive 0-point GP has left him 16th, with Peter Kilderman already having more GP points. Woffenden added another 4 heat wins in Melilla to his yearly total and now leads the pack with 19, while Pedersen is second with 15. Hancock and Holder both now have over 10 heat wins on the year, while Doyle's 3 Swedish GP wins moved him on to 8. At the other end of the list, Jensen, Harris and Thomas H. Jonasson were all able to add a heat win to their yearly totals last time out. On recent form, there's no change to the top 3 overall, with Woffenden and Pedersen's breakaway also visible, but Holder has been performing on par with Hancock, while Janowski hasn't been far behind. Despite a poor last GP, Peter Kilderman is still showing form which, depending on how long he is in the series, could give him an outside shot at the top 8, while Harris and Kasprzak are both struggling. Nicky Pedersen tops the league CMAs since Melilla, courtesy of a 14-point night for Lejno as they defeated Gorzow 48-42 in Poland. Behind him is the wildcard Mikkel Mikkelsen with an impressive average of 10 from 3 meetings, though 2 of these were outside the top divisions, with a 5-ride maximum for Ostrovia in a 62-28 victory over Gniezno his highlight. Hancock has been solid, while Kilderman has an average of 9 despite only scoring 4 for Leonen in a 33-55 defeat against Moderna in Sweden. Andreas Jonsson has been busy with 6 meetings from which he has a solid average of 8.1, and this includes a 14-point outing for Lakeside in a 45-45 draw against Coventry in the UK, while Holder, who also has 6 meetings, got off to a bad start with just 3 points from 4 rides for Poole in a 39-53 loss to Bellevue, before picking his average up with a 5-ride maximum for the Pirates as they thrashed Leicester 64-29. A couple of individual events involving SGP riders have taken place since Melilla. First, the Swedish final was held on August 1st at Hallstavik, featuring both Andreas Jonsson and Thomas H. Jonasson. Jonsson did best, scoring 14 points and winning 4 heats on his way to qualifying for the final, where he finished second behind Antonio Lindbach. Jonasson's evening was less successful, and he missed out on the semis after only scoring 6 points from his 5 qualifying rides. The following day saw the Extraliga Riders final from Poland take place in Leszno, featuring a whole host of GP regulars. The event itself was won by Gregory Laguta, but the best performance from a GP rider was by Hancock, who scored 11 points and 3 heat wins to qualify straight for the final, where he finished third. Kildemand was next best. 5 second places saw him qualify for the semi-final with 10 points, but he was unable to make the final. Pedersen, Janowski and Woffenden all scored 9, with the latter two losing out in the semi-finals, while Pedersen sat out his semi after a crash in his last qualifying heat. Less successful nights were had by Zagar, Doyle and Everson, who scored 7, 3 and 3 respectively, and all missed out on the semi-finals. That's everything for this weekend's Grand Prix. We head into Horsens with the world title looking like a 2-horse race between Woffenden and Pedersen. If Pedersen makes it a hat-trick of Nordic SGP wins, he may close the gap on his rival, while Ty will be looking to maintain the consistency which has seen him qualify for every final so far this year. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to see more preview videos in the future, and check back here in 3 weeks for the Gorzow Grand Prix. Bye for now.